All right, so 2022 year in review. Well, it's that time. So what Skip's like, what are we going to talk about? Like, we talk about podcasts, and like we talk about the year. It's like we talk about everything. It's been an insane year. Like I cannot express enough the insanity of this year, and like a lot of it is when you plan in 2021. Like, we're just coming out of the pandemic. We just acquired managed services platform, brought it into our portfolio. We were just starting a rebrand, and
Oh
then
yeah.
we come into 2022 thinking, what's this going to look like? How are we going to hit all of our goals? And so we started this year like really optimistic, and then we started growing rapidly. We had some changes in our culture early on, and then we got accepted into the Pitch It program. And I mean, like, so many things have happened this year. I mean, where do you start? Like, I'm gonna ask it, what was your highlight this year?
I think IT Nation was really it, and because it was a cumulative sort of event. I mean, we had worked so hard on so many things. And it wasn't just the pitch it. I mean, I guess the cool part about it. It was the things that we were doing to prepare for that. We had set some goals for ourselves. There were product elements that we wanted to be in production by the time we hit the showroom floor. There were, certifications, our regulatory and compliance element of our business, that we wanted to have those there. We were bringing, new team members on. We wanted them up to speed. And along the way, I think it really kind of solidified some of the other things that we were doing. And even at the event, we talk about our product and our framework and all the things that we do, but when you do that over and over and over again, it really helps refine that. So that 1 week of IT Nation really kind of brought so many elements of our organization together that I truly think that was a definitely a high point. And history will tell, but I got a kind of feeling that that's a milestone on our calendar as we look back year over year, as we can see, hey, things started moving in this direction after this event. And so it's really cool to see that kind of come together in our organization.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
I really think that I look at the world kind of like as a chessboard. Not that I'm manipulating people and I see people as objects, but I see projects and opportunities on this board and how they move. And so rather than seeing them in silos, I look to see how they're going to fit together.
Yep.
And if this particular pattern and if this particular set of engagements moves in this direction, I can react to it when it happens. So like in 2021, we started off with the dashboard, element to the software. We wanted to show people what the new direction was now that we've merged Virtual C and Humanize IT. And so then we built up a software roadmap. Was a big goal last year to have done by April. And because we had that done in April, we got a large cash influx just
Yep.
because a couple other things played out, you know.
Yep.
Um, and because those things played out that we were working on in 2021, we got this cash in 2022. And because we had a roadmap in place and ready to turn on as soon as we were ready, like, we started running with the roadmap faster than we thought. And then we were also in Pitch It, and we had been working on our event certification, and we had been working on rebranding our marketing, and a whole bunch of things just were on the table. And yeah, like, that was probably my highlight this year, is watching things synergize, for
Yes.
lack of a better word to use right now.
I know you hate that one.
I hate that, but watching things like, it's not that we got lucky, it's that we had well planned out ideas, and we were positioned in a way to take advantage of those ideas once they manifested. Like, so those, was it it's not luck, it's when opportunity meets ability.
Something like
I'm
yeah,
missing out on the phrase here, people. Preparedness meets opportunity.
yeah,
And so, some people just get lucky. And we do have some luck, but you get luckier when you start strategizing, when you start
yes,
moving deliberately. If we had not built the dashboard in 2021 and showed the members what was possible, we wouldn't have gotten a lot of the ideas for 2022. And if we hadn't filled out that roadmap, if I hadn't applied for, the extra cash for 2021, which looked like it wasn't going to happen, and then all of a sudden magically in 2022 it just appeared. I'm like,
yeah,
oh crap! Well, now we're ready. But if I had wasn't ready to consume that cash with a plan, we would have just fizzled. Like, we wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the things we could have done this year. So a lot of things had to come together, and some things just haven't manifested this year that we thought were going to happen. Some big clients have not signed on that are just taking forever. But that we thought that was going to be the biggest part of our year, was these big clients. They're barely even a footnote to this year.
yeah.
And
That's true.
so it's it's interesting to look back. We even hit some like great milestones this year. Like, we did over 100. We hit our 100th episode of the Humanize IT podcast back in May. In May, we hit the 100th episode of the podcast. And then after that, we skyrocketed in our stats. Like, people started listening to our podcast like crazy. And I don't know if it was because of Pitch It or because of just our marketing was starting to finally take off. But our audience grew like crazy, and listens started growing like crazy. People started sharing the podcast, and we started having meetings and demos with people coming to our software. And, oh yeah, I listened to your podcast. It's like
Uh-huh.
crazy.
Yep.
We
I
do this
think there's a
podcast.
real yeah, there's a real value in momentum there. And I think sometimes we want to be very, intentional and methodical as we do things, but we need to understand that, things will take on a life of their own to some extent. And it's cool to see that. And, building to IT Nation was it was an uncomfortable goal for me. I would much rather plan. Let's hit this goal, and then let's hit this goal, and let's hit this goal. And me being in technology for so long, trying to make sure that all of these different elements come to point at one time. I don't know. I've just seen too many issues where yes, the server farm is where it needs to be, but the switching infrastructure is 4 weeks late or whatever, and hitting those goals makes me nervous. But we, to some extent, we had to, and we certainly didn't do it last minute. I mean, we foregoed my standard no minute like the last minute sort of deal. I mean, there were a few little things, but by and large, this a significant portion of this year has been targeted at hitting that one event, and that work I feel really really paid off. So that's exciting to see in our
Yeah,
organization.
I mean, the IT Nation was a peak of preparedness. It was a prime example of what happens when you move deliberately in a direction. And like, it could have been we had a booth there, like, and that was it, and people kind of walk over. Instead, it becomes, wow, we had a lot of interest in our product, and people who would never have heard about us before now are like buying our product. And and we're changing the narrative of what's going on in the MSP world. And some people are still like, oh, you can't do that. There's no way you can like have a tool for account managers to make them business focused. Like, oh well, watch and learn. It can be done. And so people are like, oh my gosh, this is really good. I love I need this in our MSP. Like, I did not know I was missing this. Like, yeah, now you know. And that's kind of like the narration of, I think, 2022. Like 2021 was all about acquisition and shifting, and 2022 has been all about like a lot of things playing out because we had a lot of irons in the fire, and a few key ones hit hard. And I think that was my favorite part of 2022 is watching the preparedness come together. And it makes me nervous though, like, because now we're at the end of the year and we're after this big event,
Oh
and
yeah,
now we have to deal with the fallout of the big event. And it's like we spent so much money like building the company and building this image and developing out these new things. Like, what if it doesn't work? What if just everything falls apart at the
what
last
ifs,
minute, and
yes,
all of a
yeah,
sudden like that darkness starts coming in. And but it's not. I mean, it's coming together. And it's like, what is 2023 gonna look like? And all this stuff we did in 2022, if it has given us momentum. So in 2023, as long as we don't shift directions, if we
yeah,
stay on trajectory, 2023 is going to be one of those milestone years, as Skip puts it, where we're going to say that was the year everything changed. 2022 was when we really changed, and in 2023 is when we really executed.
yep.
And
Saw it come out.
that's kind of the theme of 2023 is execution. That we've got a great product. We've got a great set of members now. We have been slowly shifting our culture over to this new style of communicating with your clients rather than just auditing and presenting to them. And I think that those whispers are starting to get out into the field between our podcast, between our marketing material. And it's always great when you're sitting there in an event and somebody repeats back to you one of your quotes or a
Yeah,
phrase that you and you're like, my people. But yeah,
I've heard that
this year,
before.
what else happened this year? We won most innovative tech this year. Did not see
That
that
was really
coming.
cool. Yeah, that was
Um,
the
you
cherry
know,
on top of it all.
I always get emails. The thing is that it kind of waters down because I get these emails all the time, like, "Hey, submit your company to win this award,"
Uh huh.
and
Yeah. Or
1,500
pay,
bucks, and we'll put you
yeah,
in these
pay
magazines.
money and we'll give you an award. Yeah, those are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Versus this we earned,
Yes, absolutely.
between all the pitching, all the networking, everybody hearing about our product, and we earned it. And that's a big deal. And so that was a great thing for us. We were a Pitch It finalist. Yeah, we didn't win, but we were the top three. I think I've heard like it was over 40 original companies that kind of maybe it was like 60 original companies, and it went down to 18 for people who were accepted into the program. And then after the 18, it went down to three, based upon voting. And then after the three, it kind of exploded. So we had a packed room. I had a lot of nerves.
Yeah.
But we've
Well,
got
and
our pitch is pretty darn solid right now. We got a lot of great catchphrases out of that. Our narrative is solid. Our elevator speech now is a 10-story building rather than a 100-story building.
yeah, that was the great part about that. Yeah, we've got it done much better. So, and the
So
partnerships, the pitch it contestants that were there, you know, I this was the first I've been to IT Nation and been involved with ConnectWise for many years, but this was my first exposure to their Pitch It program, and I kind of feel like we surprised them a little bit because the top three finalists, rather than competing against each other, we elected to collaborate. And we hosted a workshop. We've got another one coming up, and we're messaging back and forth. We were out socializing and hanging out with the other team members from the other companies. I mean, we just really kind of came together, and to some extent, we're bigger than we were when we started because we got these partnerships. We got a bigger ecosystem to get in and work in and leverage off of each other, and that's really cool. Sometimes you can feel isolated, and you can feel nervous. Like, I mean, it's all on me, or it's us against the world kind of thing, and that's a hard place to be. It really is.
yeah, and it's the friends we made along the way that were the real prize. Um, and you I've
Do
been
you
I've
have a
been
wave that goes with that?
yeah, there's this, lesson I learned this year, and, you know, I kept getting told it over and over again by several people in, the MSP world was presence is everything. And so when you're actually present, when people see you and they can talk to you and they can shake your hand, like that's everything in the MSP world where you say, I know that person, you know, and we've been really bad about getting out there. We've been really bad at like showing up to events and really bad about like shaking hands and kissing babies. And that's what I learned this year. And so next year we're going to double down on going to events. We have our marketing swag ready. We have our materials up and going. All we need to do is get out there. We have a great product. And so, before it's like, oh, if I market it, if I have the best product, I'll win. No, it has to be more. You have to be present. So we plan on going to like ASCII events next year. Planning on going to IT Nation again next year. Lots of things going down where we are going to end up with a um, really great year. And we're looking at rapid growth, just the sheer number of people interested in what we're doing and our product, and being able to capitalize on it, because we're not charlatans. We're not selling snake oil. It's not something that kind of works. It is something that's really good. Like I find myself in the middle of demos, like thinking of new use cases for the tool that we built
Yeah.
because we
Uh-huh.
built it with this broad idea here. And so that's how you know you have a good tool. It's like you're not like, oh, I hope they don't see this part of it. No, it's like, oh man, I can't wait to show them this area too. Or I can't wait to show them how these two play together. And then you start thinking in your head, like, oh, here's a way I can improve this. I could actually, like add this little piece of code in and we could do these two things.
Yep. Well,
So
and
it's a
the
good thing I'm
engagement
not a
parts.
coder, because otherwise I'd spend endless days tweaking the software.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's always something that yeah. I was joking with my wife the other day. It's like, I really want this, but the last thing that we need is for me, to be requesting login credentials so I can get access to the code. That's just going to be a bad day. Um, but for me, I think the engagements was really good. I like sitting here in my office. I like doing my thing. I like poking around on stuff, but I've always enjoyed working with our members. And so we do this, we get on, and I'm really excited to show what we can do and answer questions and really work that out. But as we've begun adding new modules and new functionality to the tool, I definitely, have taken this approach of, hey, I'm not the expert in this. I may know a lot about this, but I by no means, want to say I'm the expert. But I listen to my members and these great conversations, and at the end of the day, I end up sitting on a mountain of really, really good information. And now we've got some new and exciting areas to get into, and we've got whole set of things on our roadmap, and we're building out a board of what we can do here and there. And I've got this really big bug about some business initiatives that we need to work on, and it's so exciting to collaborate with our members and to hear what people are doing and to really dive deep into what are you trying to do here, how are you trying to get this done, and to figure out better ways to do it to make it more effective. That's just exciting stuff. And so I'm really looking forward to 2023, because I think as exciting as this year was, we're going to have a few more things come together next year, and I'm really anxious to see them hit and start
Yeah,
wrapping up.
in my head, I just had this illustration, like, so given I'm a Tesla driver, this illustration makes no sense. But getting we got the vehicle, we pulled it out of the garage and we revved the engine,
Yeah,
and now we're ready to drive.
yeah, and that sounds really good.
And the engine sounds really good. Yeah, and so like next year we're driving. Like we have one last major feature, that we have one last thing to pull out of the magic hat here, that's going to pull everything together. And it's going to be something almost brand new to the MSP world, and it's something that everybody's been asking for, but we couldn't deliver it until now because we had to rebuild the back end of our software to do this. And it's something our software already does. It's just going to be the next level, this the inevitable next step to MSP delivery. And we'll have that ready hopefully in January, all things going well.
Yep. Yeah, I've
But
learned to be a bit more pessimistic when it
yeah,
comes to software development,
it's always
but
buggy, and we're gonna spend like a couple weeks like, why didn't we catch this?
yes.
But because of the preparedness, the engine is going, and this launch of this actual thing being the true view of the software, and all of our existing members are gonna be like, holy crap, I've been missing this. This is great.
Yeah.
And people out there will be like, I want that. My customers need that. That is a enhanced customer experience that we have been unable to deliver until now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
and
that's next year, and that's how we start, because that particular development thing happened to get built out this year. And so now the engine is revved. We're lining up down the highway and we're ready to drive and let people see what's going on. Get on the bus and we're going.
well, and
So
here's I think the healthy thing in this is, these are big milestones and big events, but that element that you're talking about, what really excites me is that I know how we're working and building on that, and that is going to be the foundation element for what we're going to do after that, even, and that's fuzzy, that's way out there, but but that's the cool part about it. It's a long term goal, but now I have a rough estimate on how we're going to get there. I can really begin to kind of put the pieces together, and so it's not only the excitement of what's happened and what's about to happen, but at the end of 2023, or maybe it'll be 2024. I don't know. I can see how we're going to get there and still maintain this growth and this climb to newer and better things. And it's not going to be, oh, this is all awesome, but I don't know what we're going to do in March or something.
yeah, yeah. We
It's
have
still
a
going.
plan for the next year or two, like
Yeah,
solid. But the
yeah,
thing is, that's the problem. We can't say that because best laid plans, or what, no plan survives encounter with the enemy.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Mm,
that's
with
fine.
business, there's always things like, will you have enough cash to make it through the year? Through the year, will your cash flow sustain the growth you're doing? Is there going to be a hiccup somewhere? Yes, there's going to be hiccups along the way. Yes, some of the things we're planning may not pan out. Some of the partnerships may not plan out. But we have enough of these things, and they're all focused on similar goals, that all it takes is one or two to pan out of the plans for things to really move forward. And that's the goal of planning, and that's why we can sit here and say we have an engine, we are aimed in a direction, and all it takes is a couple things to make this just explode. So next year is the year of momentum, and we just got to maintain that momentum. And I think that's the exciting thing. And then, like, will things continue to happen throughout the year? Yeah,
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of it
oh
just
yeah,
comes down to how much cash do we have on hand and how many people can we do this with, but also not doing too much, because you can over engineer things. You can
yes, yes.
overthink, and all of a sudden this
Anything worth
great,
doing is worth overdoing,
simple,
right?
elegant solution you have becomes a just absolute crap fest. We've seen it happen in tech before, where something was great, it was fantastic, and then they over engineered it. And now it's
Yep,
like, ew,
too much,
what is
too much. Yeah,
this? I can't use this new version. I feel like there's a version of tech. I'm trying to think of, in my head. There's some example, and I'm just not pulling it.
yeah. They come
Netscape
around too
6
many
comes
times.
to mind.
The what now?
Netscape Navigator 6, I think it was,
Oh,
or 7.
yeah, yeah. That one just totally went.
It came out, and you're like, oh, I see what you're trying to do, but that's a fail.
Yep, that's
Or
too old.
when Battlefront 2 came out, and they're like, EA was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be so great, and then they're like, everything was an in-app purchase,
Oh
and they
yeah.
got so many black eyes because
Uh-huh.
they tried something to monetize their entire crowd, and it did not work. So they had to roll everything back. So I'm excited for 2023. I think 22 in review it was the year of building. It was the year of reinventing ourselves and launching. But we revved the engine at IT Nation. People have looked over and seen, what is that?
Yeah.
That's cool. I
Hmm.
like that. And now we just need more people to see and hear our message so they can say, oh wow, that will help my MSP. That will take us to the next level. And so it's not an empty promise anymore. They can come in, they can log in, and go to our website right now, like things we could not do, free trials that we now offer, that you can come in and you can see our software, and we convert 100% of trials
Yeah.
people. Why? Because they come
Yeah.
in, they come in skeptical, and then they see our product and they go, "Oh, this is not an empty promise. This is cool." And the MSPs see all the possibilities, and it's not because Adam and Skip are geniuses. It's just because we listened to our clients. We listened to our members
Yep.
and built
Yep.
something that they wanted. And that's the beauty of all this. And I think year in review here, man, what a year. Going from rapid growth first quarter to insane presence with Pitch It and IT Nation to winning awards to our podcast blowing up to, I mean, new hires. We got Sebastian on board and he's been fantastic, and new partnerships with new vendors that we are, able to bounce ideas off of and go to events with. Just so much. Like I could not have predicted last year where we would be today, but I'm
Yep.
glad we're here. And I'm
Absolutely.
wondering where we're going to be in 2023.
Yeah.
What we're going to be when
Uh,
we do our year in review next year. Where are we going to be? And I'm excited to find out.
very much so.
All right, that ends our year. I might be able to record a Christmas episode, but next week is
Mm.
Christmas, and as everybody knows, Adam takes off Christmas week all the way to New Year's. So
Yep.
I'm going to try to plan out everything and have it all ready to go so that we can start January 1st in style.
There we go.
All right. Thank you. And Happy New Year to everyone if I don't say it next week.
All right. See you guys.